Hi, welcome to myprojectbazaar.com. Now we are going to see the project Unprivileged Black Box Detection of User Space Keyloggers. In this paper, keyloggers are implanted on a machine to intentionally monitor the user activity by logging keystrokes and eventually delivering them to a third party. Keyloggers can be implemented as tiny hardware devices or more conveniently in software. Software-based keyloggers can be further classified based on the privileges they require to exit. It is no surprise that 95% of the existing keyloggers run in user space. Traditional defense mechanisms use fingerprint strategies similar to those used to detect the viruses and worms. Unfortunately, this strategy is hardly effective against the vast number of new keylogger variants surfacing every day in the wild. In this paper, we are proposing a new approach to detect the keyloggers running as unprivileged user space keyloggers. To match the same deployment model, our technique is entirely implemented in an unprivileged process. As a result, our solution is portable, unintrusive, easy to install and yet very effective. In addition, the proposed detection technique is completely black box. That is, our technique does not rely on the internal structure of the keylogger and the particular subset of the APIs used. Now we are going to see the DFT diagram. The operating system at the bottom deals with the details of the I/O and the event handling. The OS domain does not expose all the details to the upper levels without using unprivileged API calls. The task of the injector is to inject a keystroke stream to simulate the behavior of a user typing at the keyboard. Similarly, the monitor records a stream of bytes to constantly capture the output behavior of a particular process. A stream representation is only concerned with the distribution of keystrokes or bytes emitted over a given window of observation without entailing any additional qualitative information. The injector receives the input stream from the pattern translator, which acts as the bridge between the stream domain and the pattern domain. Similarly, the monitor delivers the output stream recorded to the pattern translator for further analysis. In the pattern domain, the input stream and output stream are both represented in a more abstract form termed abstract keystroke pattern. A pattern in the AKP form is a discretized and normalized representation of a stream. Adopting a compact and uniform representation is advantageous for several reasons. First, this allows the pattern generator to exclusively focus on generating an input pattern that follows a desired distribution of values. Details on how to inject a particular distribution of keystrokes into the system are offloaded to the pattern translator and the injector. Second, the same input pattern can be reused to produce and inject several input streams with different properties but following the same underlying distribution. Finally, the ability to reason over abstract representation simplifies the role of the detector that only receives an input pattern and an output pattern and make a final decision on whether detection should or should not be triggered. Now we are going to see the project. The front end is NetBeans and the back end is MySQL. In the front end, choose home.java and click input, give the input, click get input, click monitor, click pattern generator. So the patterns are separated, and click pattern change. So it will give the output as the abstract keystroke pattern format. Click pattern translator, so enter number of samples selected from the input. So 2 samples are formed, and for both two samples we have calculated the average keystroke, and then click inject. If you click inject means our samples are injected into the OS monitor. It will retrieve all the input output details from the OS, and click detector and click detector. If you click detector, the PCC values are calculated. PCC values means Pearson correlation coefficient. The Pearson correlation coefficient values should be in the range of 0 to 1. If the values occurred between 0 to 1 means it comes under the category of false positive, otherwise it comes under the category of the false negative. The PCC values are calculated here. So the PCC values are calculated here, and the PCC values are shown in the consoles. Finally the output only showed in the text area. Finally the PCC values are calculated, and then click false positive. The values are shown here, and the click false negative. Finally the results are obtained. Thank you.